Welcome to Iron Summit, the podcast where we dive deep into the art and science of becoming your best self, blending expert insights on strength training, smart recovery, optimal nutrition, and mindset mastery to help you elevate your game.
What's up, guys? If you're looking to level up your training, click the link in the description and check out the Iron Summit Gains Emporium. Our strength training plans are designed to help you pack on muscle, and with our software, you can track every workout right from your phone. Plus, you'll have direct access to us for any questions along the way. Don't just train, level up your training.
All right, we're live.
I want to get some Ryan and Mike banter.
Whoa. Okay, let me do a quick intro here. First of all, Mike, the wild man DeAugustino, two-time NCAA All-American, competed at Northwestern and Michigan. He did a brief stint as a college wrestling coach and obviously reputation as a wild man. I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures, but Mike's beard with the chin cup.
College wrestling.
My boy
What's
Blue.
up, Mike?
Not too much. I'm a little bit professional now, so gotta keep it a little bit less homeless.
You can't show up.
Wrestling though.
Don't worry, it'll be in the thumbnail. We're gonna get it. How did that come about, Mike? Because that was such a great name for you. But I don't know if I really know the origins of it.
So my freshman year, I looked like this, honestly, my freshman year. Didn't really have much. My brother, my first dual meet I actually lost. I lost my first dual meet. And then the second dual of the year, wrestling, I think, Northern Iowa at home. And we had a pretty good team that year, but I don't even think we had that many people in the stands at the duel. I think Northern Iowa was like ranked somewhere in like top 15, roughly. And I was wrestling, I think his name was Jacob Schwarm. He was ranked like 9th in the country, but I had no idea.
I think this was his name. This is what he was ranked and exactly who he was.
No. I don't know what he was ranked. I remember his name because Stormy told me, he was like, "Oh, it's a good win when I won." But I never looked at brackets or anything. I mean, I know now, but never looked at brackets or anything or like rankings. And then my brother came up with some just little debacle or like gimmick about like being like a Sasquatch in the woods, like no communication. You just go out there and you just show your face eventually, so people believe. It was basically just believe, and no one really has to know if you're real or not. Just go out there and do what you do, and that's kind of how it came to be.
Wild man.
Wow, man.
It's the wild man.
The funniest thing was, Max, when Mike came on his recruiting visit, Mike had, I think it was a torn MCL or something. He had knee surgery and he's in crutches, and dude shows up with like a baseball hat on and freaking massive beard. And we're like, who's this 35-year-old man? He's coming to the RTC or what? And he's a college or a high school. I don't know. You're a junior or senior at that time.
Yeah, I was like senior, like 18.
Yeah, so we're like, I thought he was an RTC athlete.
You had a beard in high school?
Yeah, so I was an early bloomer. I was like the weird kid in middle school who had the beard and everything. And I hated. I think my least favorite thing about wrestling was back then they still had like the shave rule. Yeah. So I'd shave and like I'd have literally nothing, and they're like going against the grain, and I'm like, dude, there's like I can't get any more clean cut than this. So I think in college when it changed that I didn't have to shave, I was like, hell yeah. And I just kind of just went with it.
What year was that?
It was my red shirt year, they got rid of it. So I think that was the first year. So 2018 was the year they started that. Because when I was going into it, you still had to shave.
Yeah, I had to shave my whole college career, and it sucked. Talk about like nonsense, because what's no better way to get skin infection than shave right before wrestling?
Yeah,
literally, pores are all open.
Although I will say, when it gets really long, like you definitely, like if kids aren't soaping their beard, like there's more like whatever in there, bacteria. So like maybe there should have been a limit where you couldn't have the mic, curling around his chin cup beard. But
soap your beard, Mike?
What was it?
Did you soap your beard adequately?
Just use I treated it like my head, like like Head and Shoulders.
I was making sure because
Mike was pretty clean. I never got anything in my beard.
Yeah, he was clean.
You would think after the season I'd have like a spot or something. Nothing.
It was funny though, the night after nationals, he would shave it right away. Like there was no, it would go from like homeless to like clean cut Mike, like instantly.
And then did
It's-
you just start the cycle over for the next year?
No, I only started it when it was time to cut weight. So when my diet started, my beard grew, and
Got it.
that's pretty much how it was the whole time.
What he lost in his face getting sucked up, he gained in his beard pushing out.
Never saw it. You never saw it.
We saw it.
Maybe my legs, my face, not as much.
How much weight did you cut?
So like per week or like preseason to in the season? I was probably
Such a
walking
wrestler question.
upward of like 55, 50 to 52-ish range in the
That's a
preseason.
lot.
And then my lowest I could get down to realistically, like natural would be like 135. And that'd be on like my best day. So I was pretty much pulling like 10 pounds of water, but per week on average, like 13 to 14. Cause like after you blow up after sodium intake
Yeah.
and just carbs, and especially week to week, it's harder too. Those double dual weekends would be pretty hard.
Take us through your water cut in a week. I was actually talking to another 25 pounder. This is definitely, it's a huge thing at the weight class because not many of you guys are actually 125 pound human
me-
being.
Let me caveat this, Mike, before you answer this. Like, Mike was a tough SOB. Like, didn't matter. He'd be 11 pounds over no matter what he did. And dude made weight every time. And like, there was times we were cutting weight together and I'd be in there after, like he started before me and he'd be going an hour after I was done. Like Mike just didn't complain, got it done. Like the mental toughness is aside. I want to hear about this too. But yeah, take us through what your process was.
Yeah, so for me on the water weight, like I don't know, I had to change over time because it was like the first 3 years I could just cut out water, and then towards the back end of my career, I didn't burn off the water weight as fast. So I started towards the end adopting a little bit more of a like a waterboarding weight cut plan, I'd say, which is a little scary in the sense of you're checking the scale, but you do adopt the like waterboard weight management thing, and you don't worry about the numbers as much as just the sweat that comes off. And I think you're seeing a lot of people start to go that route now, because you can eat a little bit more, but it flushes out your system, and it might not be the best for your electrolytes. But early on, I could shed off the weight a little bit better. And then once I got a little bit older, I didn't release as much. So I had to kind of in midway switch off. And some people might go up a weight class. For me, I was a little bit more stubborn. I was more so like, this is my weight class. I'm gonna win at this weight class. So I kind of stayed down. So I'm sure people have different opinions on like whether you go up or not. I kind of just adapted and adjusted in that sense.
For sure. Also, I think do you mean water loading?
Yeah, not waterboarding.
No, he means waterboarding. I put him over the
I don't know.
bathtub and-
Water loading and waterboarding, I would say they go kind of damn near the same.
They're
The
like
amount of
hand in hand.
water you're drinking
That's
probably
like
is.
torture. Yeah.
That's why I started
sure.
laughing when he said it because I
I
knew what
know.
he meant.
Water, yeah. I meant water loading, but the waterboarding, I mean, there was days where I was drinking like, I think like 25 bottles of water, and I was just like literally I was sweating. I was drinking so much water.
And
Mike
then
was.
go ahead. I was just and then it came off. It just comes off a lot easier when you're that
It
hydrated.
does.
And you flush your system. Like you're forcing
Yes.
your kidneys to kick into overdrive.
And I know there's definitely coaches that don't want to see or hear that, but I will say in the sense of like hydration, I think that was better because I was at least able to eat more. And I had better practices in the beginning of the week, and then on the back half. Because I felt like in the back half of the week, if I was just like, I wasn't full in the beginning of the week, at least I had weeks where I was like lackluster the whole week just because I had a lot to lose and I couldn't like flush it out as well.
Yeah. It is such an interesting challenge. And it's one of the biggest parts of 125 is like who can make the weight the best and who's the biggest. And the other thing people don't really take into account is that 125, like cutting weight makes a huge difference because every pound you are heavier on, by the time you're competing is a much larger percentage of your body weight. Whereas like you have 197 pounders who cut a lot of weight, but a couple pounds is not a lot to a 197 pounder, where it is a lot to a 125 pounder. Like it makes a big difference what weight class you're in those lighter weights.
Yeah, I agree. I would say that with that weight class, it's just as much as who's the better weight cutter than it is the wrestler. I mean, half the time, I think it's the only weight class where you could wrestle it 10 times and have 10 different champs.
Yeah.
Realistically.
That's why the results are so variable at that weight. And people always say that 125 is so unpredictable. It's like, yeah, because they're all cutting an enormous amount of weight. It's like who feels the best?
Yeah. And I think every 125 pounder would speak to this. If there was a way to go to 126, it's 1 pound, but it used to be a weight class. If they like when it was 118 and 126, I think the wrestling would be like 10% better. It's all around. Because that last pound for 125 pounders can take an hour to get off of 1 pound.
Mike, you'd probably just adjust your body weight a pound up anyways. Like you say that, but you know,
maybe, but I don't know.
Mike's starting to
One P like can make a difference.
126. Let's start a petition.
Used to be 126.
what are your thoughts on weight cutting, Mike? Because I mean, to Max's point, it's such a big part of the sport at the lighter weights. And I mean, it plays a lot into, burnout with wrestling, staying engaged in the season, staying healthy. I mean, there's so many 125 pounders that have injuries. I know you dealt with a lot of injuries on your, own career as well. Which how can you not when you're losing, 10% of your body weight every week to make weight and bouncing and then, having to go compete where we were at an hour weigh-in too. Like there were duels where, we draw 125 and Mike, basically hardly ate anything because he didn't want to throw up because he had to wrestle in 30 minutes after the weigh-in, basically.
Yeah, if I could have a magic token and go back in time to who had the concept of starting this
Prisoner's
Wait.
dilemma.
yeah, I would say let's switch it. I think what I really think needs to happen, and this might be something in the wrestling community or the wrestling world that needs to be reinvented or reinvestigated, is everyone needs to have a third party person come in and do their checks on the beginning of the year. Because the reality of it is most trainers, anywhere you go, they are not actually checking to see where your most healthy and weight limitations are. They look away and that's just how it is. And that puts a lot of the wrestlers at risk. So I think for me, I would say that a lot of places the NCAA needs to mandate that. And I think you would see a lot less injuries.
Yeah.
Hear you. But Mike, you really think that you would listen to anybody that told you don't go 125 this year?
If it was mandated by no, listen. So here's the thing. If it was like, okay, do I know the X, Y, and Z school down the street? They're not going to listen. They're going to go 25. No. But if it was like a organizational thing, like cut and dry by like the NCAA where you don't have a choice because of this, they would know. But it's hard to do so because it's the way it's structured.
And we need a better way of determining actual body composition because you guys did calipers, I'm sure, which is horrifically inaccurate. The electrical impedance is really inaccurate. Really, what you probably should do is have a third party and make everyone get a DEXA scan, which is
we had a DEXA there too. Like we literally did them after season, but I don't think they wanted us to do it at the beginning of season because you don't want to see that what happens over the course of a year.
And I'm not saying like obviously that would be very easy to do, but I do think you would see less injuries and you would see just maybe higher level of wrestling at times within the lower weights because it wouldn't be like a decision like, oh, can you make it? You're just trying. It would just be like you're too big or too small.
Yeah. Well, and I think 10 years ago, getting a DEXA scan might have been unreasonable to ask 15 years ago, but now there's DEXA scans everywhere. Like every Division I college is going to have a DEXA scan within 30 minutes.
The thing though is like, I don't know that necessarily fixes all this. I think if I'm putting my realistic hat on, you need to have a lineup where you can give lightweights weeks off from cutting weight, like have some depth in the lineup, which hard to solve for that. But if you can add some lighter guys and, if you have a good enough team that you can put a backup in, I think that helps. And then two is we need to shorten the season because part of the reason too is
Yeah.
like six
Yes.
months long of cutting weight is too much. And everybody knows that. And now all these fans are like getting mad at why is this kid sitting out? It's like, because he wants to win nationals. He doesn't want to get hurt at the like
Yeah,
Duhawk Open,
I
couple
agree
like
with that.
I was talking to Sheldon Seymour this past weekend, he's a massive 125 pounder as well. He's similar size to what you were, Mike. And he was saying like you think it would get easier to make the weight as the year went on, but for him it gets harder because he really doesn't shrink at all. And then as you keep forcing your body to get down to that weight and practicing, you start holding more inflammation. Like it's harder for him, it's been harder and harder to get down. So like I agree. It's just too many weigh-ins.
Yeah.
For
That's just what you have to tell yourself as a 125 pounder. It's going to get easier. That's like the mental game you're asking.
yeah, it'll get
That's really the
easier.
mental. Oh, it's going to get easier. It ain't. I felt my best in the beginning of the year. After one weigh-in, that's when I felt like my best. And then after
you
that,
just
it was
cut
just
it out.
managing.
Yeah.
The other thing that I don't think is helpful too, which I don't know a way around it. It's tough on your body to do those big swings because as disciplined as people want to be, nobody walks their weight down like, from, I don't know, June to the start of season. Everyone like is like, yeah, I'm gonna start thinking, and then September comes and you start cutting weight. And, that last week is, I don't know, 10, 15 pounds that you probably should have dropped a little bit more. And a lot of 125 pounders, realistically, they got to shrink some muscle tissue because they just they can't shrink any more fat tissue.
Yeah. It's a tough predicament for these lightweights. Yeah, too many weigh-ins. People always talk about how UFC fighters like cut all this weight. I'm like, cool, they did it once. Like it was one weigh-in and then they had 24 hours. Like
And
do
they
it
can
If I had
OD.
24 hours,
Yeah,
You'd be
you can do it.
155 out there.
yeah, exactly. If I had 24 hours, I could probably look like Usain Bolt out there. It'd be quick.
So, Mike, let's talk about like your just competitive nature, man, because you had so many big wins. Even if you were right off the scale, bad weight cut, didn't feel well, you're always a gamer, always a competitor. Um, where does that come from? What is that like? What was your thought process when you're in a match? Obviously, you're competitive, but it's not like a normal skill for a lot of people to just figure it out when the chips are stacked against you.
I'd probably say for my high school career, I didn't really get what I wanted out of high school. And like, I was like, well, this is my last chance if I don't try to do the Olympics. So I guess for me, I wanted to just finish on top so bad in college. That like, and I got injured my senior year of high school too. So I didn't get to finish it even on my terms, my high school career. I blew out my knee my senior year. So I think I just came into college with a chip on my shoulder and wanting to earn scholarship as well. And then it just kind of just rolled into just kind of my nature. I remember when I was a freshman, I came in with my like knee braces, getting my ass kicked by like Sebastian and Colin every day. And I think I just came in with a positive attitude. I might have got my ass kicked yesterday, but today's a new day and I'm going to take down somebody. I'm going to hold on to it like I won a championship. And I kind of just kept on moving forward with that. And then honestly, I guess my opponents, of being in the Big Ten, you see the same guys. When I was competing, I really didn't like them. I might have been like one of the weird things, like people would talk in the weigh-in lines. I didn't want to do that. I'd talk to maybe like the 41 or the 33 pounder, and that was just my competitive nature. Like, I didn't want to be friends with the guys I was going out with. Like I was trying to take someone's dream, and they were trying to take mine, and that was another thing. I just kept it personal the whole time. Probably sound like cliche Michael Jordan, but that's before the I was thinking this before the documentary came out, but
I took that personally.
yeah.
What do you think of that, Ryan? Were you friendly with opponents?
Dude, I think you gotta have a little bit of like, I don't mean this the way it sounds, and like my, I don't know, Christian side don't love the way this sounds, but like you gotta have a little like hate for this. Like it's gotta be a little, and not in like a off the mat, but on the mat, you gotta be a little rough on the edges. And I remember Tom Klum telling me that before I left for college. He's like, you be as nice as you want off the mat, but on the mat, it's all right to be a little rough around the edges the next couple of years. And yeah, the problem is there's guys that I competed against that I wanted to dislike so bad because we were competitors. And then I get done competing and you like hang out with them. I'm like, dang it, these guys are good guys. It was
Yeah,
just
for sure.
for the game, you know?
Yeah. But when you're competing, you got to. I saw something I hated because like heavyweights had the reputation of
Yeah.
other. I was like, I don't want to be with you at all.
Don't talk to me.
That's yeah. We always made fun of was it Jack Hyatt would always talk to everyone in the weigh-in lines. And I'm like, dude, why are you doing that? Stop talking to me.
Yeah.
Like I
I
don't
don't associate with that culture of
yeah.
It's not your culture, Max.
that wasn't my heavyweight culture. But I'd also agree with you. Like at the end of the day, we're all wrestlers and at a high level. And the reality is, like, I get along with guys who have been through that experience. So when you're done competing, then you're like, oh, this is actually a good dude. But at the time, you gotta kind of hate him, have some real competitive nature.
And
Um,
the way I saw it too is it was like if you're friendly with them, it was almost like you were a little scared to like crush their dreams. I just didn't even want that in like the back of my mind. I like, you know what I mean? I just wanted to like I want to take everything that they worked for basically.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you want to make it so they don't want to ever step on the mat with you again.
Yeah,
Like that's
exactly.
got to be the mindset.
Yeah, I think it's kinda like, comedians, how they don't like getting close to somebody that they're about to, like, roast? Like, you don't wanna be friends with these guys because 'cause you're trying to crush their dreams, and it's hard to do that when you're, like, have a positive attitude towards somebody. I think the only competitors that can do that, brothers. Like, brothers that compete, they will take each other's heads off, no problem, don't care. But, yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't talk to people I competed against. It was even at, like, training camps in the summer, it was awkward. I wasn't trying to be buddy-buddy with them.
Yeah, no, it's a
Yeah, the
real
people thought I was weird too because I had the beard and I wasn't talking to anyone, but I
It's also easy to be real pissed off when you're cutting a lot of weight and you're in that way in line. You're like,
yeah, I had my appearance and weigh-in lines wasn't great. I had the cut up underwear and the beard, and I just didn't talk to anybody. So I was like kind of like the Hobbit almost in there. Like
wait, what do you mean cut up underwear?
I had these underwear that from high school. I remember I think I made them for Super 32 like my junior year, and they were like the Walmart, the thinnest of thin underwear. And I even took the buttons off of them, so they had a super light. And I cut them up. I
All the
cut them
way.
up. There, Ryan knows what they look like.
Mike was convinced that it would take point 1
Hey,
off.
wait, but people used them though. Other people on our team used them a few times.
It's technically illegal. You're not allowed to, like, manufacture your underwear, but Mike's like, "I don't know, man, it ripped."
But
Amazing.
I used it all the time, and we had teammates who also used that underwear.
I don't
It
know
got
who was
washed.
using your
Got washed every time.
Yeah, who
Oh,
was using your
same
underwear?
thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You were no, not you.
No.
You're hollow. You're hollow.
No way I'm using your ripped underwear.
No, I didn't say you. I didn't say you.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, it worked, Ryan. It's
Mike
genius.
had a lot of little mental things, and it didn't matter, as long as he made weight, whatever you gotta do, and I think you gotta lean into those superstitions, and Mike, you were a little superstitious. You got the beard, you got the underwear. I'm sure there was a couple other things too.
Yeah, asking what you weighed.
What?
Asking what you weighed. What your weight?
Mike always wanted to know what I weighed, and I'd be like, "Mike, don't worry about it, I'll make weight."
Ryan's superstition was no one could know what his weight was. Since we're on
But
the topic of
here's the
weight.
deal, it wasn't that deep, it kinda turned into a funny thing because people, like, actually started to care about it, which I don't know why you care, but it was more like,
Really bothered Ryan.
I'm gonna to use Mike's terms, I'm gonna waterboard the whole week, and so I know my weight's gonna look higher than it needs to be, and if you go, "Whoa, why are you 10, 11, 12 pounds over?" It's gonna stress me out. So if I just know, I'm like, "Don't worry about it, I'll make weight," I feel good. I know where I'm at, I feel good. I don't have to second guess it because you don't need to tell me, like, because 12 pounds for me and 12 pounds for Mike is a much different cut.
Yeah. So were you 12 pounds over regularly, Ryan? Yeah. I didn't want to talk about it.
Well, we sometimes was it Mike? Maybe you missed weight, or maybe I don't know if it was like Colin. Somebody missed weight, and Storny started coming in and being like, it would be like 3 days out, and he'd be like, "All right, everybody on the wall, what's your weight?" And it was like a fight every time.
It wasn't me. I didn't miss weight in Northwestern. It wasn't me.
Mike would lie though. He'd be like, Storny would be like, how much you weigh? And he'd be like,
It was
7
the
over.
same reason though. But I didn't want to deal with the stress. Like it was the same reason.
Mike could be 15 over, and he'd go 7.
It was the same reason. It was like I'm just trying to just wrestle through practice, and then but like he'd be like, "You need to come in." I'm like, "All right." There definitely was some weight plan managements that were like, "You need to be this, that." I think every 125-pounder almost in the country has been there.
Do you have a one weight cut that stood out more than others? What's the worst weight cut? At Iron Summit, we are about getting everything we can out of our workouts and everyday lives. If you aren't wearing a pair of barefoot or wide toe box trainers, you are leaving gains on the table. The Sashi Athletics Ronin Ichi Minimalist Trainer is a perfect barefoot shoe. Not only does it perform like other major brands on the market, it is actually good looking. Even my wife says so. Get a pair today for 10% off with the code IronSummit10. Link is in the bio.
So my red shirt, and I'm thankful for this weight cut because if it wasn't for this, who knows what time would have said or like where I would have been with wrestling. But my sophomore year, so my redshirt freshman year, I was about to wrestle off at 133. The whole plan was for me to go 33 and wrestle off for 133. So I was lifting. It was like the first time I was constantly lifting. I was on protein the whole summer. I was weighing like I got up to like 160.
You're crazy.
You're a wild man.
Well, I was supposed to wrestle 33, so I was like, I need to be like 155 at least.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there were some nights I was like 160 after dinner and everything. And I remember I was annoying the hell out of Storny about like, is it still 133? Is it still 133? Because I was like, just wanted to make sure because I wrestled 125 the week or the year before. And I remember I was at the Cyclone Open with my dad because back then you had to rely on your parents to take you unless it was like a RTC coach.
Yep.
And the end of the season, so like I think Lucas's dad, Keith Davison, and my dad took us to the like Cyclone Open. And it was the last tournament. I remember saying I'll never make 125 again. Thank God. I got done. I wrestled like the 3 matches. I won the tournament. Good riddance. So I started lifting from then on out. It was like a week before wrestle offs, and my girlfriend was in town, and I remember I got to some like Chinese buffet like rice. I weighed like 138, and we had making +5 for 133, so I basically was on weight for wrestle offs. I got like the everything boba tea, the everything fried rice. And I just got done talking to Stormy about 133. And so like we're like 5 days out from roughly from wrestle offs. And I eat all that. I get out. I get a phone call. And I don't know. My mom calls me a lot. So, but I had a feeling it wasn't my mom calling me. So I pick up the phone. It's Stormy. And he goes, "Hey, can you make 125? And I'm like, oh my God. So I literally just got out of this restaurant eating like crab rangoon, all that stuff. And I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah, I'll do it for sure. Hang up. Bye. And then I was on my scooter and I go to this alley and I was like to my girlfriend, Alexa, I said, give me 1 second. And I go to this inside the alley. I've never made myself barf ever in my life beside this one time. And I pull trigged and my whole gut comes up and it's literally shrimp, chicken, crab, the Thai iced tea. My eyes are like bloodshot red. I walk into the Subway, that was the alley, and like to wash my hands off. And this guy, the coworker, is looking at me like I'm insane because I'm like got barf on my hand. And that's from that point on, Sebastian went 133 and I went 125, and that was pretty much it. That was like 4 days of cutting weight. That was like absolute hell.
Did you have to make 125 scratch?
I think he gave me 2 pounds. So it was like 127. And then Sebastian made like 130 something. And I had to wrestle him. We did like a wrestle off and he beat me up pretty good.
That's terrible.
That was by far like the worst weight cut.
Everyone has one. Like, if you've cut weight, I knew you would have one because you remember one. There's like
That
one
was it.
that always
And
stand.
it was like I think I wasn't like the biggest runner. Like I ran like 2 miles probably every day, but I think that those 4 days I clocked in like 40 some miles. And that doesn't include like biking, any sauna I did.
Which
It
is
was tough.
frowned upon. Sauna's frowned upon.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's out of the
I
game.
ran
It's okay.
I ran a lot.
You're a graduated now. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
What everyone's doing.
That is so funny. Yeah, Mike, yeah, you were just tough. You just make the weight. Like it was what it was. And Max, he wasn't in a bad mood either. Like, when you're cutting weight, like Mike would get a little more quiet. Like you'd know on the bus ride home because you'd hear Mike the whole time talking. But he was still in a pretty dang good mood when he was cutting his nuts off like the rest of the time. So it was definitely just gritting it out, figuring it out, and just being stubborn about it. But Mike, I want to talk a little bit. What are the differences between? I think you were kind of in a unique spot with kind of the whole transfer NIL stuff, and maybe just talking about some of the differences between Northwestern and Michigan and like training approaches, competition approaches, how your experiences were with two different Big Ten schools, and an
Yeah.
inside look at both.
So for just since we're on the topic, Northwestern and Michigan did not approve of or do or have a sauna. So that's one thing we'll get out of the way. I had to go to like a third party. So
Yeah.
You're talking about it like this is like
fun fact. I went to the only two Big Ten schools that don't have a sauna. So get that. Like I think
I don't get that
really
rule.
too.
'Cause they're like grandfathered in at some places, but then
Yeah.
like Nebraska got to build a new one in their locker room.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
don't
in
know.
the athlete's locker room? Because I know a lot of places will put it in the coach's locker room, and then they're like,
It's in the athletes, and
Northwestern
then
and Michigan don't have any.
yeah,
Wisconsin has one. Penn State has one. Iowa's got one. Like every school's basically got one.
and now you're allowed to do it in the off season. When
It's
like I remember when
recovery.
I was for
You can?
you
I didn't
can
know that.
now in the off season. Yeah, when I was there, you weren't like it was like you weren't allowed in the sauna ever if you were a
Yeah.
wrestler. Which is
Let's
that's
be
all.
honest though. Is there any coach that would honestly get somebody in trouble? Like you got to be a pretty petty coach to like get a kid in trouble for that. I'm
I
not
agree.
saying right or wrong. I'm just saying like I don't know many coaches that would do that.
Yeah,
And I don't
they
even
were kind of strict. Like they would not ask you, but if they found out you were doing it, you got a talking to.
and I
We
don't
made
even think
shower-
it's that bad unless it's like
Hour
if
sauna.
you're overusing it. But like 30 minutes, I don't see
No,
it
it
as
probably helps.
yeah.
It goes wrong, like because then you don't have to, expend all these calories and damage your recovery. Like you're just sitting there.
Mhm.
I think if used correctly, it can make a water cut healthier. It's just
Yes.
people like you had the one death in the 90s. People were
Yeah.
like doing crazy workouts in the sauna for hours. Like that's where it gets ridiculous.
It's a big liability, and like I understand why you wouldn't want legally to say that that's okay. And I'm sure there's a lot of student athletes that are using it the wrong way, and like there's probably times we used it the wrong way. But every time we're on a road trip, we didn't go in a sauna, but you turn on the steam in your shower and you bounce around in there. Like it's the same exact thing. And so, like I don't know what the right move is there, but probably kids should be more educated on how to use that correctly. Because the other thing I hated was people that were lazy weight cutters that would just go sit in there for 4 hours trying to lose the weight and drain themselves instead of actually like running and breaking your sweat open and then just like letting it help drip your sweat longer. It's a real thing for sure.
Yeah, it is. I used to. I'll admit, so I went to a third party sauna as well, Mike, when I was making 197. This was in my heavyweight days, pre-heavyweight days. But I would go. Did you guys ever use Sweet Sweat?
I did in high school. Never used it in college, believe it or not.
That stuff made you sweat so much because it just like clogs your pores. Essentially, like it's some kind of wax. You just put it all over your
Basically
body.
like Vaseline.
Dude,
It's like
I didn't
wearing
like the
that
way it made me feel. So I
No,
stopped
hated the
using
way made me
it.
feel, but it made you sweat so much. And I was like a guy. It was hard for me to sweat a bunch. I wasn't like a natural sweater like Ryan over here.
Yeah, I
I'm a
wish I
sweaty
was.
pig. Thanks, Max.
I'm not. I'm a clean boy. I had
I'm
to-
cleaner. I'm getting the toxins out. All right.
True. I'm actually jealous of people who sweat more. But I put the sweet sweat on, which is like wearing a plastic sweatsuit, and then like couple layers, and then like pull my hoodie up and just go sit in the corner of like the local gym sauna and hope no one noticed. Just get it
You know
out.
what? You know what's the most underrated thing I think about it that is such a cheat code about saunas is not even using it to cut weight, but using it right after you're done, like to go stretch and then also kind of cap off your conditioning. Like you get a little bit more like zone 2 cardio without taxing your body.
Yeah, without the
Um,
recovery, yeah.
and you get that heat adaptation, like the heat shock proteins. Because if you cut weight and you're not used to stacking on a bunch of like sweatshirts and heat, you get exhausted. But when you get used to like performing while you're like super hot, um, it doesn't exhaust you in the weight cuts as much. Like that's why it takes a couple weight cuts to like get used to it and not feel so exhausted. So I mean, there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to use that stuff.
I used to
How-
use it to breathe, practice like my breaths. Like
Yeah,
when I was short of breaths, I'd use it
breathing.
breathe in there too.
Smart. How hot did you guys keep? Like, how hot was the Northwestern wrestling?
Mike would put an ice bag on the thermometer
Oh
every day.
yeah. Yeah.
Classic move. That's a wrestling move right there.
Well, we didn't have like the thing didn't tell you. It just like it
It was
still
a
does.
sensor.
It
It
still
was a
does.
sensor, so you could put an ice bag on it and it would
Yeah,
kick
and
on.
And,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wouldn't tell you. So like you just that was the only way to really get it hot.
was it
But
hot?
Northwestern's dressing room was great and I think over time I realized I'm not like it could be like a left side or right side, but like I don't think I like windows. Well, you were asking about like the between Michigan and Northwestern. Like I'm not a big windows guy, I think, in wrestling rooms.
Bold statement.
But
You like the dungeon just like in the
I think I
basement?
do. I think I do, and that might
get
be
that.
something to do with like being like weight cutting and stuff. So like in Michigan's room, I always loved when they put they had like awnings, like or like curtains.
Yeah.
I loved when they put the curtain down because it would be dark. I liked it when the curtain was up. I didn't like it as much. Like
Get this natural light out of here.
yeah, I think I just liked because I don't know. Think about it. When you're wrestling in like a match, there's never really light. So I think that's kind of like
Hot take.
yeah.
I like it.
So Mike, let's get back to some like actual differences between the schools
Well,
and not
I
just
mean,
windows.
that's
Windows is number one.
but okay. Let's see. Back on the topic of like
Hold on. Just recap for everybody. Similarities, no saunas at either school. Differences, there's windows.
well, there's
in
windows and not
Michigan.
windows. When
which
I'm
Mike
not cutting
doesn't
weight,
like.
I like the windows though. No, it depends. Just depend. I think it's just like your mood. Like if you're
Right.
cutting weight, you don't really want
You want it dark and kind of depressing.
Yes,
I
exactly.
appreciate the detail. Let's get more into the
So,
wrestling
right
and
now,
athletics.
Northwestern's up 1 due to lack of windows.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. So like what differences? Like we maybe like pick one. Or
Like I don't know, what was your experience like?
Yeah.
Obviously it was different. You're older, more mature at Michigan. But like going from one program to the second program was, you know, the approach to practices day to day, the weight cuts, the travel, you know, school. What did that look like? How was your life outside of wrestling? How was your training? How was your recovery? How was your trainer? You know, just like high level, what was big differences, you know, between the two?
I think I'm biased, but I think I picked the two best ones. I'd say for especially for like someone like a recruit like me, I think I picked the two best ones that were fit for me. For Northwestern, I was going in. I had a lot to prove, and honestly, at first I was at Northwestern. They didn't have a spot for me at first. Actually, I think there was like a fifth year that may or may not come back. But me getting the injury kind of got a plan in a way to where I was able to go there. Who knows if I didn't get injured and had a better start or at senior year, maybe I wouldn't have gone Northwestern. For Northwestern, I'd say the team camaraderie aspect benefited us. I'd say we were a smaller team, but we were a little bit more of a tight knit group in the sense of everyone had to rely on each other and everyone needed somebody, no matter where. Like we had 25 guys, and every person mattered because you're one injury away from being in the lineup. And we had I think a good stagger of age groups too. So you had a lot of guys who were different ages as well, even though we were only 25 of us. But in the sense of, I think, I don't know, differences, they're all kind of this, like, they're all kind of the same. All the guys are Big Ten guys, most of them. They all, been through the ringers. They know. But I'm trying to think, man. It's a tough question because
What's like a typical training day at Northwestern versus a typical training day at Michigan? Was that very similar or very different?
I'm going to be honest. For me, my training days were always crazy compared to everyone else's because of the weight cut. I mean, like it wasn't like if I was not a non-weight cutter, I think like Michigan practiced at like 3 every day and Northwestern was like 2. So not much of a difference. One was Central Time. One was like,
Mike, not the time, but like, okay, you do, a
I know, I'm
15-minute
saying,
warm up. You played handball.
I know, but
and then
like
you got into
there's
drills.
not like
I'm not asking the
I
2 or
wanted to
3
be an
we
central.
played we played handball almost every day at Northwestern, I feel like. And then Michigan, we played handball like every other day. Like, like it wasn't like
Outside of like one is purple and
we got
one
to
is
cut some of this
blue.
out
Can
because
we
I
like?
don't know.
But all this. I want to know, did you prefer a 2 or a 3 p.m. start time?
Well, it was 1 Central or 1
It's
East.
the same time. It was
3.
just central.
Yeah, same time. It was same time, just Central. Yeah, I guess.
It's different places in the world.
You know what though?
It's kind of hard to pick between
That's
the two.
fake. I'm pretty sure Michigan's Central Time too.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's East.
Not. It's Eastern. Swear to
That's
God.
kinda
Firm
crazy.
on that. So you were
Yeah,
probably
you have to cut out some of this because I'm looking. I don't know. It's just tough because like I like both places for different reasons though. So it's
No
like
edits. We will not edit.
you can't edit any of this. I'm learning a lot. Personally.
I don't know. Northwestern, smaller group team, more like not as much depth, but like everyone's pretty hard nosed because I feel like a lot of the guys Northwestern maybe didn't have a shot, so going somewhere else. So they're just like, all right, I can't miss a match. Michigan's got a lot more freestyle background and sense and help. The alumni at Michigan and just like the sports community was awesome. So like there was just a lot of like more, I guess, culture wise for sports culture. Michigan, I mean, is Michigan. Like people when we got there, they're excited about the duels. We sold out the basketball arena. I think it was like the first year that Michigan was a profitable sport when we were there. So like that was pretty cool to be part of. Like things that sometimes you don't get in the sports or the wrestling world. Just like we got to wrestle in the basketball arena every match, and I think there's not very many Division I schools that get to do that. I think there's maybe only 5 that we could say that get to wrestle. Like maybe Oklahoma State, Penn State, us, and a few other ones, but not too many. Training days, though, I'll go back to your question, Ryan. No, so like a typical training day, like at Northwestern was like I'd get up, I'd probably do a spar with one of the coaches, like Jimmy or Howe or Storney, like 7 a.m. I'd eat breakfast after that. I wasn't a big breakfast eater, but couldn't be. I'd go to class. We'd have a 2-ish, 2:30 start time. We'd play handball, and then whatever the agenda is, and it was pretty similar for Michigan too. I mean, I think Michigan might have lifted 2 days consistently throughout the season, and unless it was like Big Tens, Northwestern would taper depending upon certain
We
times.
lived twice a week at least. I think you were kind of more running, but like as a
Yeah.
team, we were lifting.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard for me to like say the exact practice plan because there was times where like I had to be more like weight focused and stuff than I was on.
Was there a noticeable difference in the way the coaches approached wrestling and like practice structure when you went to Michigan, or was it pretty similar?
It was similar. That's kind of why I chose Michigan, was because it was similar. I think
Yeah.
like in wrestling we're kind of like a creature of nature. A creature of habit. In like what we're used to, and that's why I chose Michigan. Then that's kind of why it's hard for me to differentiate because I chose Michigan because I saw the school that was the most like Northwestern.
Yeah.
Also, why I wanted to go because Chris and Lucas were going. And we had such a good thing at built in Northwestern. It was kind of hard to leave, and I was happy to bring a piece of that to Michigan. And the culture was good. The coaches are supportive. I think both of them want to win just as bad as we did. There's maybe a hair bit more of a rivalry when it comes to Michigan between like Ohio State. So that was a cool duel to be a part of. We had Illinois as our rival at Northwestern, but it wasn't as hateful, I think, as the Michigan and Ohio State duel is. I feel like we wrestled at Ohio State when I was there that year, so I guess it was you kind of saw a little bit more on being the away side of things.
How was school difference? I know it's a little different. You're in like a grad program versus undergrad, but how was that?
So I was on like one of the weird like fully online post-COVID grad programs. So like Luke, I think, did like one of the real estate ones, like real estate certificates that was in person. For me, I just did a fully online one. So it wasn't like, I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to differentiate because at Michigan, I was fully online. At Northwestern, I was mostly in person. I guess when I was at Michigan, they were like a lot of the classes I was in where you could use like ChatGPT. So that was a different kind of thing at the time. Like they were like trying to figure out like how you can study it and like how it works. I'm sure they're way past that now, but you used to be able to like quote ChatGPT if you can use it. And I was like, that's kind of weird. We're able to use it for our assignments, but we
So
just have to quote it.
plus one for Michigan for ChatGPT usage.
Yeah, I didn't have to worry about school too much. So
yeah. Well, let's do so we got like a few more minutes here, some rapid fire questions. What was the hardest wrestling match of your career? Either best person you ever wrestled or just like match that stood out to you as being really hard.
trying to think. Opponent or teammate?
Opponent.
I was gonna say however you want, but underrated. Like Mike had underrated celebrations. Mike had some good celebrations when he had big wins. We got to get a clip of like him doing his Flappy Bird and a couple other ones.
Yeah, the Flappy Bird was a good one. So I think my opponent, like, I don't know if it was the hardest one, but the one I like looked the most forward to in college was Pat McKee. When I got to wrestle, and we wrestled a lot, like probably like 7 or 8 times. But I think that one, I don't know. Someone always came back from being down a lot of points in a lot of our matches. So that one was I always knew it was going to be a hard match when I was wrestling him. So I'd probably say him. I don't know if it was the hardest matches. I think the hardest match I had was like I went to like quadruple overtime with Drake Ayala at Michigan. And that one was a little bit tough because there was like 2 times where I was like this close to getting a takedown. And I had a bad weight cut too. And I was like I was pretty gassed. And there was like 2 moments in the match where like I thought I had a takedown to end it. Either like it was like one was at the end of the 3rd period, one was at the end of overtime. And it was like, God dang, I keep squirming out. And I think by the end of it, I think I held on by I rode him out to win, but it was just like a couple, like it felt like the match was like this, like, oh, I'm about to celebrate. Nope, match is going. About to celebrate, match is going. So like it was like more so just like mentally drained just as much as it was like a bad weight cut. That match was pretty tough, I'd say. I'd probably say that one was probably the toughest. There's obviously matches you lose, but I don't know if I'd say like the ones you lose sometimes are the toughest. I think the ones that you have to pull out and win sometimes would be the toughest. Maybe taking a loss, like worst loss, when I got pinned in Hawkeye, that was annoying. That was like only times I got pinned, but like that wouldn't say that was hard. That was just like
Just sucks.
like sucks. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's tough. What about favorite food post weight cut and then least favorite food post weight cut?
Favorite food. I was a big like oatmeal and yogurt guy. So and honey. So like that combo was probably my favorite. Food I hated eating though. I would always eat like a raw avocado and I didn't even really like it. I just would like eat it just for like that, just so I tricked myself that this is the fastest burning fat food and I need this so I could so I'd always eat that and I didn't even enjoy it really. I just ate it.
Just choking it down.
Like you can match it up, put a little salt, make a little avocado.
I used to put honey on it because I used to put honey. It's not bad. Because I didn't really like the taste that much.
I've had an appetizer before where they like baked in the oven like half an avocado. They put honey and salt on it, and it is actually pretty good. But that was like a restaurant.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
probably the one I was like, I don't know. I'd eat it, but I never really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, NU or Michigan, what's the one thing each school did best?
And then pick your favorite.
I'm trying to think. That's tough. It's one thing they did best. I would say Northwestern did a good job at always just like kind of finding the guys under the radar that maybe weren't the highest like recruited, so that they like, I don't know, there was a couple guys out of our recruiting class that weren't like the top 5 or top 10, but they developed them really well. And I don't know if that's necessarily just like just right time and right place or what, but I think
Coaching.
if you're not like a big recruit, the small team does help. You have more eyes on you for coaches. So I think that does help where, Northwestern might not get the top 5 finish now, especially with NIL being a little bit harder. But individual wise, if like focus is not really a team title or something, an individual, I think that is kind of like seems to be a good place to be for guys. I think Ryan would maybe agree. What do you
Yeah,
think, Ryan?
honestly, like I mean, there was a lot of coaches that cycle through because as we know with college, just year to year, it's different. But like, I mean, there was a time where it was Storney, Howe, Jimmy Kennedy, and Mike McMullen. And I'm like, I don't know if there was a better coaching staff in terms of accomplishments anywhere. Like it was such a phenomenal coaching staff. They cared a lot. They did a great job. And to your point, you got a lot of one-on-one attention because they did care about that. And it was pretty cool to see like when we got to Northwestern to where, where the school started. I think we were maybe second to last at the Big Ten tournament. And then COVID year, we finished the year 4th before nationals. And then my senior year, we took 6th at nationals. So it was cool to see that rise. And we put, what was it, 10 to NCAAs 2 years in a row, which
Yeah.
is like an insane stat from a small school. So yeah, I think it was really cool. Coaching was awesome. Like you said, I think it was a fun environment.
And then for Michigan, I'd say they've built a great culture there, and just like I think Sean, KJ, all those guys have built just a great culture, just wanting to compete for something more than just yourself too. Like they talk about the Michigan M and being like a Michigan guy. And I might have only been there for a year, but like that there was like a pride when you wanted to be there. Like Josh Torella, for example, like I remember we lost to Ohio State that duel by like a rough way. And like, you could see it on the coaches, like, those guys I don't know if I've been around a staff that cares more about, like, seems like sense of winning, like, it affected them too, like, you could tell, and there's something about, like, a coach that affects that much, that cares that much, that you wanna be there and fight for them too, and I think what they've built at Michigan is special because yes, it's a NIL era, but in everything, and people are gonna say stuff like that, but they care about their guys, and they took us in with open arms, and like I said, I think their coaching staff's doing an amazing job between Josh, KJ, Debo, and Sean, and they're gonna continue to grow. They got a good young group right now with those guys, and I'm excited to see what they do, and also their freestyle stuff they got going on there is great. They got a really good freestyle community over there, and they're building. And there's a reason why a lot of those guys stay after, school. Like Gomez is still there training. They got Real Woods to come over. Lawan's still training. It's because they built a really good culture, I think. And, you know, I think if any like young kids are wrestling and stuff, sometimes it's not about wrestling for like the biggest like brand or the best team. You focus on what's for your individual self. Um, they'll lead you the right direction, and it'll take in different stages too. Like I was at Northwestern for I feel like the perfect amount of time, and I was at Michigan when they were ready for me. And those are the 2 best schools I think I could ever chosen.
Wise words. After learning about windows and practice starts,
Yeah, I know
a good
the
way.
windows, man.
Mike has some depth, man. Mike,
He
hold
covers it
on.
all.
We can't end this podcast without one story of Mike. We're going on a bus trip home. And for some reason, Mike decided to grab the microphone, the loudspeaker over the bus, and decided everyone's got to do karaoke on this 7-hour bus ride home. And that's Mike, man.
That driver was in hell. because I asked him, I said, "Does this thing work?" And I said, "Does that TV work?" And we got Hal to sing. What was it? Gin and Juice. Is that what it was? It was Gin and Juice.
I just remember what Lucas sang.
What did he sing?
I don't even know the name of the song, but I'll tell you offline.
Yeah, had some words. There was dude, yeah, that bus trip was a lot of fun. Robbie Bird was in there.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, I love that. That was a good trip. There was I thought you were gonna talk about the bus trip back from Big Tens when the guy was flooring it through that snowstorm and you were like, "Oh."
Dude, Max, we had a bus that the power shut off.
Crazy.
And it was like you couldn't see 5 feet in front of you, and he couldn't get off the road because power steering went out in the bus. And so like Storney's like, everybody get off the back of the bus, like we're gonna get rear-ended. And he goes out there and he like messes with some stuff and plugs it back in. He's like, I think we're good. And we're like fishtailing the whole way, and it was right after Big Tens. And we're like, can we just go to a hotel, man? Can we just wait this storm out?
Nope.
Dude,
No, to Storney's credit, man, he was like, let's stop. This isn't safe. And the bus driver wanted to keep going, and we went
he
and stopped
yelled
at a
at him.
hotel. Yeah, Storney was
Yeah.
like, no, pull over. Like
The guy, we broke down like twice, and the dude was like duct taping like electric tape or something to the wires. And he's like, dude, it's like snowing hard, and there's like cars crashing on the side of the road, and he was just Ryan was scared.
listen. There was
What did I say?
nothing
I was
good.
like, Ryan, we're gonna crash and die.
Mike started putting on Jesus Take the Wheel in the speaker, just bumping it in the back. And I'm like, Mike.
Dude, that guy he was going, dude.
Yeah.
He was going.
No, he was reckless for sure, but we
Yeah.
made it. Okay, last thing. Mike, where's you're into a bunch of sports cards. Where's that going? I mean, I keep seeing headlines of like a Michael Jordan card goes for the most, money ever in an auction. Let's like 2 minutes, wrap this up. Tell me about sports cards and why you like that stuff.
So why I like it, or where's it heading? Which one? Which one?
You pick. Go ahead.
So I mean, I liked it when I was as a kid. Just like I followed sports heavily. It was always like I always wanted to be in the NFL. Too small for that, but or be a baseball manager. I guess that one's still not too far gone. I can start, doing some tobacco, and maybe I'll get hired. But
that's all the qualifications. Yep.
yeah, it's part of it. It's part of it. But over COVID, it like boomed obviously, and then I started making like a decent amount of money on the side, especially when I wasn't on like a full scholarship yet from wrestling. So I just started doing it as a side gig. One of my buddies who I wrestle with, Joel Vanderveer at Northwestern, he's in it with me now. We got like a little card breaking company, so it's like a little side gig of mine. It's called 8 Breaks. So if you want to see like the logo, hold on.
Yeah.
Like a card holder, but it's like a kind of like a wild man opening a box of cards, but it's like a little like side hustle of mine. But the card industry is gonna be pretty big. There's already some big money coming into it. Like the guy from Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank just opened up his own auction house and purchased like one of those big Michael Jordan cards to like be like one of like the front faces of it. But you're seeing a lot more like private equity money coming in from like bigger spenders, which is going to push the lower end consumer out of it, which I don't know if that's the best thing for it. I think sports cards are going more from like a hobby to like an art almost in a sense. Like people like us can't buy a Picasso painting really, right? And I think that's the fear of it.
Not yet.
But I think that's the fear of like what's happening with sports cards is a lot of big money's coming in. It's kind of pushing out like it's not really like for the kids anymore, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like it's not like what it used to be, but it's kind of like just like it's kind of like an adult hobby more so now too. But people are starting to see that now. Some of the big sales. It's not what it once was, but it's fun. I'd say that it's very fun to be a part of.
What's your favorite card you have right now?
I got a Ichiro 1-of-1, and it's like my first 1-of-1 ever pulled, which is like one of a kind. It's the only one in the world. I got one I pulled when I was like 10 years old with my dad. It's like sentimental a little bit to me, but it's a patch from like the All-Star game, but it's the only one from it. It's from like the 2009 All-Star game. But that's probably my favorite card I own. I'm not even an Ichiro fan, like a Mariners fan. I just like the card. but that's probably it.
How much is that card worth approximately?
It's like 3,000. Nothing too crazy. There's some that I make that look like chump change, but
3,000 for a single sports card is a lot of money.
yeah, it's nuts, the market for some
I
of the
bet
stuff.
people have to take out like insurance policies on, your cards getting damaged or something in a flood or a fire or,
Yeah.
or stolen.
They
That's
do.
crazy.
Sometimes I've heard some like horror stories about it though, where like people will like have it insured and they consider it like a hobby instead of like a piece of like something they like own.
They get
So
out
they
of
don't
it.
cover it fully. So that's I'm like, I guess I got insurance. I got insurance on them. But
There's this idea right there, sports card specific insurance.
yeah, it definitely could be a thing, honestly, because like from what I've heard about a lot of these places, like stores will get robbed and they don't fully cover. And they're like, "Oh, here's like a $50,000 check." It's like, well, I lost like 400 grand, and I've been paying you like basically you're not going to cover anything.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
I think you'll see some of that involved. Like I said, it's starting to become a lot bigger. Like, it's just getting more and more marketed. Like Michael Rubin is the owner slash CEO of Fanatics, and they bought out basically everything. He owns MLB. He will own the NFL here soon with a license agreement. And then he just got the NBA agreement. So basically, like it used to be owned by different companies like Panini and Upper Deck, but now it's under one umbrella. And they got like their own auction house. It's kind of like Monopoly, which is the dangerous part about it. That like there's a hub going on with one company and there's no competitors. So that's kind of what the fear is. We'll see what happens though. But
I love it. Well, Mike, dude, appreciate you coming on. I really think in the future you should start your own podcast. I think you'd do a great job, and
Sure.
you kind of have that sports talking background. That was kind of like what you did in school. Your sister does it. Your brother does it. I don't know. Since I've known you, you seem like that's the route you want to go eventually. So I would listen to your show if you started a podcast. But how else can people find you?
I'm on Twitter and on Instagram under Mike Deog. Or if you want to buy into some card breaks, check out the Whatnot app. It's at 8 breaks.
We'll link it below. Send me the links. I'll link
I
it
will.
below.
Yeah, we'll link it up. Pleasure.
You're the man.
See ya.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.